Good morning, Hawks fans, and welcome back to the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you the morning after a 122 to 116 defeat from the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game was extraordinarily frustrating, a game that we had a very large lead in the first half, give it all back in the third quarter, and then came all the way storming back in the fourth quarter to still lose. Very poor defensive effort tonight, gave up a bunch of points, gave up over 100 points in three quarters. We were kind of not handling the pressure situation very well from a few of our players. A few of our players played extraordinarily poorly, and we will get into that. Probably two of our starters' worst games of their entire seasons. And yet, we only lost by 6. And so I just want to go ahead and start by getting into the key statistics. And we're going to talk about why I think that this is a Quinn Snyder loss and how we can remedy it next time we play them, and hopefully when we're playing them in the playoffs. So, moving to the key statistics. From the field, we shot 48% to their 47. And from three, we shot 35 to their 36. Now, both of those I'm just going to call a wash. We were basically the same team at the rim and basically the same team from three. That to me is very, very evident that if you're just talking about the floor game, that we were the same in terms of running our offense as they were, and they were the same as we were. Both teams finished with very similar assist numbers. We had 23 assists to their 22, and similar total team turnovers with our 13 to their 11. Again, these statistics mark out a very even picture from the game. If you look, we only lost the rebounding battle by 4, 47 to 43, and we tied in offensive rebounds both with 10. Again, that is a very, very close outcome in terms of the key statistics. Just one problem. I have left one out, and that is free throw creation, where we lost 35 to 15 and 28 makes to 10. There's your ball game, folks. We couldn't get to the line, and I will say I thought this game was officiated horrendously. There were a lot of ticky-tack fouls called. 2 of our players fouled out. A lot of times where we should have gotten calls that we did not, where our players were being aggressive towards the rim and they just let players murder them for free. I understand all that, but also I do think it's partly on us because you have to go to the rim and force the hand of the referees. They have to say, no matter what, I have to call that. That's how you remedy the problem that we've had with these officiating issues. We had it last game with New York. Now we have it again here with Cleveland. We are not going to get the respect from the referees that these other teams are getting for whatever reason. And so we need to adjust the way we play. And if we get fouled, it needs to be very blatantly obvious that it happened. It was a huge problem in tonight's game. The fact that we had, like I said, Jalen was in horrible foul trouble all night long, and it drastically affected his performance. And Dyson Daniels was in foul trouble all night long, and it hindered his ability to play proper defense on some of these players. Now, he still was very good defensively tonight. He was not the problem defensively. We're going to get into the problem defensively in just a second. But at the end of the day, the real issue happened when we had to take our best players off the floor because of foul trouble. When you don't get to play Jalen and let him get in the flow, this is what the game looks like. When you don't get to play Dyson and he doesn't really get in the flow, this is what the game looks like. Same thing with a lot of our players tonight. We had just a big problem with a lot of fouls on a lot of people, and a lot of them seemed like maybe fouls that shouldn't have been called, and maybe they were missing some of the fouls that should have been called on Cleveland because, oh, well, that's Evan Mobley. He's the former Defensive Player of the Year. Which, first of all, he should not have won. That should have been Dyson because Dyson was so much better than him last season. But let's also say he had some clout from that. And so there were multiple times where he absolutely 100% dumped a dude in the floor and fouled him, and nothing was called because he's Evan Mobley, or because he's Jarrett Allen, or because he's Keon Ellis. These players that have these reputations of being great defenders for a great team, they don't get fouls called on them like ours did tonight. And I understand we're in Cleveland; it's probably going to be a little bit in their favor, but 35-15 is ridiculous. So now we gave up 102 points through three quarters. The defense was horrid. It was really, really bad. That starts with the players who played. Tonight, Mohamed Gay only played 16 minutes. Zachary Richasse got a DNP coach's decision, while Corey Kispert got to play. While Kuminga, who was scoring very well but was struggling a little bit defensively, mostly with his communication, played 30 minutes. Gabe Vincent played 15 minutes. Our second or third best defender on our team did not play tonight. And we gave up 102 points to three quarters. The worst you could say, even if you're like, well, he's a better defender than the rest of those guys, but he's not as good as Dyson, Mo, and Naw, which maybe you could say that. I think he's a better defender than Naw, but maybe you could say that. So your fourth best defender on your whole roster did not play in a game where you gave up 102 points through three quarters. It is unacceptable to give that dude a DNP and to play the guys you played. And it's unacceptable to look at the plus minus of Onyeka Okongwu tonight and not play Mo Gay. Mo was plus 25 and Onyeka was minus 33. And one of those dudes played 33 minutes and one of them played 16. That is not okay. Figure it out. When Mo Gay is playing, the defense is always good. And when he's not playing, sometimes it's good. If it's not going well, I know one way on this whole team to make sure the defense gets better. And that way, the only way, is to substitute in Mohamed Gay. And we were getting trounced in the third quarter. They scored over 40 points in one quarter on easy looks. They probably should have scored over 50 in that quarter. And guess who played a total of 2 seconds in the third quarter? Yep, you're right. It's Mo Gay. And guess who didn't play at all in the third quarter? Because he didn't play at all in the whole game. Zachary Richasse. While you've got Corey Kispert out there getting blown by everybody and their mama, they are blowing by a parked car because that's the way he's playing defense right now. You've got your fourth best defender sitting over there, and oh man, you're so right. Zach has been struggling offensively. That just, I don't know what we're gonna do. Corey's so much better on offense. I mean, he's just so much better offensively. He was 0 for 0 from the field and had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 blocks, and 0 steals. He played on a bench unit where one of our bench players was plus 25 and he was plus 1. Now I understand, well, Russell, he was plus 1. That couldn't have been the problem. It is absurd to me to play him at all when you have Zachary Richasse sitting on the bench not playing. Quite honestly, with the way Corey has looked defensively, I would be more apt to play Asa. I would be more apt to play Buddy Hield right now because maybe he would be better. I would be definitely more apt to play Keaton Wallace because I know that dude will compete defensively. And this is going to be crazy to say, but I might take Ray J. Dennis over him. Ray J. Dennis, in his last game in the College Park season, he had 43 points and 11 assists with 8 rebounds and played hard defense, had a couple of steals. I might take him over him right now because Corey Kispert is not playing defense at any kind of level. It's like high schoolers could score on him right now. and we're playing him ahead of Zachary Chassé in a game of inches. We lost by 6. It's absolutely crazy to me. You really think that the defensive difference between Zacch and Kispert isn't 6 points worth of difference? I got a newsflash for you. It is. We would have won this game if that decision wasn't made. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but they need to get checked out because I think they might have dementia. Because no sane human being makes that decision. So there you go. With that being said, I thought the offense was actually pretty good. We had our best player have his worst game of the season, and one of our starters have another worst game of his season, and we still scored 116 points. Shot the ball pretty well from the field, moved the ball pretty decently. Did have a little bit too many turnovers for my liking. I'd like us to be around 10, and we need a little bit more assists, but it's been a kind of a problem in these bigger matchups. We're not moving the ball like we have been all season. That doesn't need to change. Moving to the player by player, we're going to start with Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert, please get off my basketball team. I'm really tired of it. I don't know what you have over the coaching staff to make them want to play you over and over again, but it literally makes no sense to me. I am. You can go back and watch. I have been a huge advocate for Corey Kispert. I loved Corey Kispert coming out of college. I thought he had a real potential to be something in the NBA, but the problem is that he has a loser's mentality built up now, and he plays like a loser, and that's not okay. Because I don't want to be a loser. I want to win. And right now, he's giving the effort of a Washington Wizard, not a team that's trying to win. That's all I've got to say about it. But fix it. Moving on, we'll talk about Gabe Vincent. So Gabe played 15 minutes. He had 10 points on 3 of 3 shooting. He had 1 rebound, 1 assist. Overall was pretty solid. The defense was okay. He's a little small to guard Harden and Mitchell, and they don't really have a great guard off the bench. So this is one of the games where like he doesn't give you a ton, but he gave you enough to be kind of a net zero. It didn't help that he spent most of his minutes with Corey, and so it was very difficult to tend that lineup where you have a small guard next to a very bad defensive guard. Not fun. And so we cleaned up some of it with Mo in the back line, and sometimes they had Dyson in there, and sometimes they had Noah in there. They cleaned up somehow, sometimes, but it still was not easy to tend to. Moving on, we'll talk about Mo Gay. I thought Mo Gay was one of the better players on the court for either team. He was awesome. He played 16 minutes. He had 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting. You go, that doesn't sound awesome, Russell. He had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, a steal, 2 blocks, forced 5 turnovers. I went back and counted in the film. He personally forced 5 turnovers in this game. That's not even including his blocks. I'm just talking about he either got a steal or they threw it out of bounds or off their knee and somebody else picked it because of Mo Gay's pressure. 5 forced turnovers, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and finished plus 25 in the game, by far and away the best plus minus in the whole game. His defense is absolutely unstoppable, and you have to play that guy. I know the offense isn't as good when he's out there. The offense is still fine when he's out there, and the defense is 1,000,000 times better. So play that guy more, please, and thank you. Learn from your mistakes. When a guy shows you that he's good, play him. And when a guy shows you he's bad, don't play him. So Mo Gay is showing you that he's good. So keep playing him and give him more and more minutes. I don't care how you have to find him, find him. Moving on, we'll talk about Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga actually had a pretty good game. He had played 30 minutes. He had 24 points on 11 of 20 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover. He didn't have a steal or a block, but I thought the defense was pretty okay. It was not as good as like Zach's would have been, but it was fine. And he finished plus 9. I will say he had a couple of times where he had hostage possessions where he probably should have passed the ball. A few of them went in, but a few of them didn't, and that really hinders you, especially when they come off the rim really hard and then they're like getting a run out off of it. That's difficult to mend, and I know that's what Golden State was frustrated about with Kuminga, but I really and truly think that he has a lot of bright future ahead. He just needs to learn a little bit more about the game as he goes along, and he's still very young. I think he'll be fine. I do think that we're probably going to sign him to a smaller money, longer term deal than what he's playing on right now. And I am excited about that. I think that'll be a helpful asset to have moving forward, like I said, I thought he played pretty well. I do think I would have given some of his minutes. I wouldn't have played him a full 30. I would have played him like 25 and then given the 7 Kispert minutes to Zacch. And that gives, if he played like 25, 24, it's like 14 minutes for Zacch, maybe 15 minutes. I think that would have been very, very serviceable for Zacch. You would have gotten the defensive value. Maybe he made a couple of threes and you probably win this game, like I said. Moving on to the starters. We're going to start with CJ McCollum. CJ had a hot and cold game. He had 32 minutes, 12 points on 6 of 16 shooting with 0 of 3 from 3. There's the cold. He also did not create a single free throw attempt. Ugh. When you're a guard, you got to do that. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists with 2 turnovers. Okay, that's fine. Production, a little bit better on the rebounding battle. He from his last game. Good assist to turnover ratio, 2-1, nice. 2 steals and 2 blocks. He was actually very, very good defensively tonight. He really worked hard, and that's a matchup that's going to be difficult for him. I mean, they have 2 very good guards, and he took the assignment and played very well. I thought he stood up to the test quite well. He did finish -4, which was the best plus minus of all the starters. Again, you don't have to shoot the ball well to play well. I thought he played well. I just think he shot the ball very poorly, so that's what's going to get a lot of the press. But I thought the defense was actually quite fantastic from CJ tonight. Moving on, we'll talk about Dyson Daniels. So Dyson was one of those players who was kind of hindered by his foul trouble. He had 33 minutes. Usually he's playing around 36. You see what I'm saying? He had 12 points on 5 of 11 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. 7 rebounds, 6 assists with only 1 turnover. Great assist to turnover ratio. That's a big thing for Dyson. He does that all the time. He had 2 steals and a block. The defense was great, and he finished at a -5, second best on the starters, and overall pretty okay when you take into consideration a couple of the other players that were in the starting lineup and their plus minuses. I just I don't think he got into a rhythm offensively very well, and I do think that it's hard when they have 2 great shot blockers and Dyson struggles from 3. He did make a 3 and it looked good tonight. Again, the shot's getting better, but it's still not going to be his main form of scoring. And so getting to the paint is just difficult against this team. And I think that as he plays against them more, he might figure it out more. But as of right now, it's been a little bit of a struggle. Moving on, we're going to talk about Onyeka Okongwu. So he played 33 minutes. He had 18 points on 7 of 10 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. 5 rebounds, and only 1 turnover. You look at that and you go, he must have played pretty okay. It's great efficiency, almost 20 points. He had 1 block and no steals, and finished -33. He was horrible defensively tonight. The communication was awful with him on the floor. He did not come up to touch enough, so then we got a bunch of open 3-point looks that they were able to knock down a lot. He did not trust his teammates. That's one of the things when you're coming to play with a touch and you're going to have to probably switch on a missed guard. There's 2 things you have to be able to do. 1 is move your feet. And 2 is trust and communicate to your teammates that you need them to pick up the roll man. Because if you don't do that, you step up and they throw it to the roll man and he dunks it. But if you don't step up, James Harden gets a wide open 3 and knocks it down, and you are now out of luck and you're -33 in the game. So I really thought his screen navigation, his pick and roll defense was quite awful tonight. I thought his communication was quite awful tonight. And I think that, quite honestly, if it would have been me, we would have been going a lot more Mo and a lot less Big O, because at the end of the day, I am trying to win the game. So if somebody is not getting it done, if they are not playing proper defensive basketball against the pick and roll, this team runs like 95% pick and roll. Everything they do comes out of pick and roll. So if he's not defending that well, you got to pull him. No matter what, you got to pull him. He had his worst game of the season, especially defensively. It was truly awful. And that's not a size thing. He was big enough. He rebounded pretty well in this game. The problem was the knowing where he was supposed to be, doing what he was supposed to do, and communicating what everybody else was supposed to do at the same time. Again, most of the time, your 5-man is the defensive organizer. He is the one who is on the back line, who is making sure that he's calling out everything he sees to help every player on the floor. And so that when you see defensive breakdowns and you see that guy on the back line and he didn't say jack diddle to help his teammates, that's on him. Now, yes, should they communicate a little bit too? Yes, absolutely. If they don't navigate the screen well, but at the end of the day, the guy who's responsible for the defense being in sync is that organizer who's on the back line. And that's one of the things I will say. Clint Capella did very well. He played, Onyeka played with Clint, one of the best defensive organizers in terms of the communication portion of the game. He played with him for so many seasons. And just this year, he's gotten better at it, but there's still flashes of him being like tremendously horrible at communicating the defense. I wonder if it's that weird thing where we have different calls from the rest of the NBA. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, he does not communicate it well. And it has been a problem, and it was a huge problem tonight. Moving on, we're going to talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So Noah played 39 minutes. He had 25 points on 10 of 19 shooting, 4 of 9 from 3. Quite good efficiency, but only created one free throw attempt. He had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 turnovers. -2 was the turnover to assist ratio. Not great. He did have 2 steals and finished -13. He shot the ball well, and the defense was fine, but the turnovers really, really hurt us. And he was doing those turnovers during that big run in the third quarter that they really came out and just kind of bludgeoned us out after halftime. I don't think he played poorly, but he has to take care of the ball better, especially if they're on a run. You can't have 3 turnovers in one quarter. That's just like putting kerosene on the fire. I mean, it's just going to blow up. And that's what happened. It blew up right in our face. Lastly, we're going to talk about Jalen Johnson. So Jalen had his worst game of the season by far. He played 34 minutes. He had 12 points on 4 of 16 shooting, 0 of 5 from 3. He had 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, and finished -10. He also fouled out. I told you I think that the foul trouble really did hinder his ability to get like flowing into the game. He had to be pulled a couple of times because of it. Again, usually in these like kind of playoff atmosphere games, Jalen's playing like 40 minutes, and tonight he played 34, and so he lost 6 minutes of being able to get into the flow of the game. And the defense was bad. It was. The offense was inefficient. He did rebound the ball well. He had a good assist to turnover ratio was good, but I mean he was quite poor on both ends of the floor in terms of his shooting ability and in terms of his defensive output. It was bad. Now, with that being said, he's been great all year. I'm not worried about him in any way, shape, or form. I'm excited to see how he handles the playoffs. But I'm just going to go over it. Quinn Snyder played horrid rotations. Gave one of our better defenders a DNP in a night where we gave up 102 to 3/4. We had the referees completely and totally irrevocably against us. Our starting center had one of the worst defensive organizing games of his career. Our best player had his worst game of the season. We had CJ, our new kind of facilitator, scorer guy, have a very inefficient night from the field that he usually would not have. 2 of our players that are starters fouled out. All of this was against us. And we lost by 6. If any of that returns to the mean even a little, we can win this game. If the free throws evened out a little bit, so the officiating was a little more fair, we win this game. If Jalen has a better game from the field, we win this game. If CJ has a better game from the field, probably win this game. If Dyson and Jalen don't foul out, we might win this game because we were coming back pretty heavily. If we played a little bit better rotations and played our other players, we probably win this game. And so I am upset about this defeat. I think that this was a game we could have won. I think that a few decisions are what hindered us from winning this game. But it also gives me a little bit of hope going into the postseason. Again, this is more than likely going to, I think it's like a 60-something% chance that we play this team in the 4-5 matchup. I don't feel too terrible about, I think that most of this can revert to a more average mean outcome. And if that happens, whoo, this is going to be a real game and we could win it. Anything can happen at the end of a game when you're close enough. And we might even blow them out because, again, we were awful tonight. I mean, awful. And we lost by 6. Now, I understand that Moge had like an upper level, oh my God, amazing game. So maybe if that returns to mean 2, then it would kind of even out. But that's only one player who played like that. If we just, I just named like maybe 7 things that went against us. I think that we could give this team a run for their money. Tonight was just not the best showing to show that. That being said, I am excited to see what happens, and I hope we do get to play them because I really don't like them, and I think they usually do kind of become ducks in the playoffs. And so if we could get a playoff series victory, it probably would be against this team. So let's hope to get that 5 seed. Let's play them again. Let's see how it goes. We've got them again in our next game moving forward. We play them Friday. That is a game that starts at 7 o'clock. It's via Prime Video. Do not miss it because that is going to be another playoff atmosphere game. It's going to be extremely exciting. I hope that we have a lot of these things that we had go wrong today revert to the mean. Let's have the game go back in our favor. We are a very good basketball team that can win any game we play. Let's prove it on Friday. As Hawks fans, let's continue to support them going into the playoffs, going into this last end of the playoff run. Let's have a positive attitude, a positive atmosphere around the team. I'm extremely excited for the direction we're going. Even if this year doesn't end the way we would like it to, we are still at the projected win total for the beginning of the season, and that's with all the crud that we've had go on with Trey being gone and Porzingis not playing and all this other stuff. We have overperformed what you would expect knowing what we know now. And so like I said, we've got the big draft pick from New Orleans. We've got the cap space in the offseason. I am excited about where we are moving, and I think that we are in good hands with Ansi Saleh. Let's hope that we can prove that with a good end to our season and a good run in the playoffs. With that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe here on the YouTube, on the podcast. Hit me up on all the socials with any thoughts, comments, and concerns you may have about what we've talked about today. Please be as positive as you can towards this team, and above everything else, I hope you have a great day.